That was an extremely good series. Freddo's team versus Trilla's team was very, very high damage on both shamans. Going back and forth so much. Freddo's team actually did look like they could take it a couple of times versus them, but Trilla's team did end up getting the better engagements of both fights. But unfortunately for them, they are knocked out of the tournament in that first loser bracket round, so they do not end up securing a win. But still, some great games from them. Interesting seeing Feral come into the tournament. We haven't seen that in a while. Ever since the Feral nerfs had come in, they kind of removed everything from them a long time ago. So good on them for trying that. And the Boomkin team does move on to fight against this RLS.
Yeah, and we can see the updated brackets here, guys. You can check it out. It's ProGameX.com/wow_tournament if you want to follow that. And you can see, this is the website, guys. Head on over to ProGameX.com if you would like. If you do register here on ProGameX.com, you will be able to be entered basically, you can play with pro gamers next weekend, and it's going to be streamed on this channel as well. So you can win that. They're going to be adding functionality for League of Legends and Dota 2 as well. But basically, it's a new gaming community. You can interact and play with professionals. You can get coaching. You can find teams and participate in tournaments that are going to be hosted as well by ProGameX, such as this one. This is their first event. Not advertised that much or anything like that, but they can get bigger over time, of course. And yeah, they can also stay up to date on the important events in the community. So yeah, come check it out. If you sign up, you have a chance to get to play with some pros next weekend. That's pretty cool. And just takes a moment of your time. You can also follow them on Twitter at ProGameX.com. That's the Twitter right there. And also, as you do see, this is a bracket, guys. So we're going to be going next into RLS versus the LSD2. So that'll be I think a faster match, I would imagine. We'll see if RLS is going to be able to take that one down. And then obviously the winner of that will be moving on to fight 1-2-3 Stormbolt. And then we do already have Procking in the grand finals, waiting the winners from the loser bracket finals.
For sure, yeah. It will definitely be a lot quicker game because a rogue will take more damage than a feral druid, and if he's pushed in for too long without Cloak of Shadows, he surely is definitely a good target for this LSD Boomkin to go on. But on the other hand, Looney's going to have a lot harder time keeping himself alive during the Shadow Dance cooldown from the rogue, or anytime he gets a re-stealth or vanishes off, because there's just going to be so much pressure going out onto him every time that happens, assuming that is going to be the target, although they could either go on the Warlock or the Boomkin, as we did see them versus the LSD in the opening series against Toxic Youth. They did just killing the Warlock extremely quickly, so they're obviously a versatile team. We have to see what they're going to be able to do here.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to queue these guys up. Hopefully they are ready, and we can just hop right on in. And we'll see how this one's going to go down. It's going to be RLS versus LSD2, starting off on the Grand Arena. Best of 3, as always. And hopefully it should be a good one. The RLS has shown some pretty good matches. If we do go back to the brackets once again, we can see the RLS did win their first match against Toxic Youth 2-0. They did lose to Procking, that is the team already in the grand finals. No shame in that. And then now they are just in the second round of the losers bracket. So this is their third series. They're already 1-1. They're looking to move forward. Lagyna lost their first series 2-0 to Hacks and Cleave. They just won in the lower bracket. Now they are also 1-1, looking to move forward here. Obviously, both teams wanting to stay alive and get a piece of that prize pool.
Yeah, for sure. The rogue is choosing to play with that paralytic stun. It is his poison of choice, as he's been doing every single match, and I do believe it is the correct decision to go. That stun out of a full kidney, or even doing that stun into a full kidney, is just so powerful. And I think the target to be watching is going to be the rogue out of the gates, because it's going to be up to him. What target he goes on is going to be the deciding match. The Warlock is just kind of there to support him. Whatever target he decides to kill is going to be the target that it will be going down. So I think maybe they try to get a hard opener either on the Boomkin if they can find him, or the Rush Shine would be great, but we're going to see who he ends up sapping. I believe we're going to sap the Warlock there. So full sap goes under the Warlock, pre-med slice and dice, and it looks like he wants to open up on Looney. He's kind of skirting around there waiting for his Warlock to come in, but does open up on the Boomkin. Cheap shot on the Boomkin, Rupture goes out, and this is the target of choice to go in. Looney instantly just dispelling those dots, feeling comfortable when his Juke does have Bark Skin available just to dispel those dots from the Warlock, coming out, the Demon Soul dots, and the full blind goes out to Looney, just chooses to sit that, and the swap comes over to Red Hot, full cheap shot, Death Coil going into a sketch, tons of pressure from this RLS right in the opener.
Yeah, and redirect hitting off that blind, nicely played here by Redmond. He's going to get a Disrupting Roar into the full cyclone though, so a sketch is going to be able to survive for now. The Halotare comes out onto Looney. He's going to have to tremor that, but it wasn't forced to trinket, so not that bad of an opener, honestly, for this LSD2. They are obviously behind on pressure, but that's to be expected with the RLS opener. They're going to have that advantage. Doppel, though, taking quite a bit of damage here. we can see he's already rotting quite a lot. Looney sitting down about half HP. Skitch, was the target there for briefly, but it's going to be right back on to Looney, who's down pretty low already. And we'll see if they're going to be able to get a gateway on top of the gateway of this LSD2. I think that'll be very effective, as we saw Furterus having that advantage. And if the Rogue could have that as well, it would really help him out. Skitch actually gets the trigger there into the Death Coil. May just go down immediately. He's down to 30k HP before he gets to Ursong stop. Big heals now coming out on him. Rimmon briefly got very low as well, but does have the Shadow Blades pop. He's going to vanish out. He's going to be opening right up onto this Warlock. The Blood Horror did proc, but he's going to be put right into the Cyclone with no trinket, so that should really just kind of stabilize things now.
Yeah, great job by Skitch, just kind of seeing the Rogue on the opener on the Warlock, But Skitch, as soon as the Shaman gated away, was thrown into that hitting the Paris, then did proc, he had to trinket that into the coil. Very close call on him. Doppel thrown into the full hex. No decurse from this team, so great job by Looney there, hitting that full hex, recognizing that, and thrown into the beam, and he looks to be the target of choice from this LSD. Heart of the Wild is up, so I believe they won't be in too much trouble for now until that's off cooldown. But the Rogue team, just peeling, full kidney going onto a Skitch, that nerve strike going out. Looney is just comfortable sitting in the back, spam dispelling those haunts, spam dispelling those UAs, keeping his team clean and as offensive as possible. This LSD seems to be the aggressor right now, but as soon as that Rogue cooldowns come back up, I'm expecting him to switch over to Looney or even onto a Skitch, as he has no trinket. Tons of damage coming over to Red Hot. In fact, stuck into the paralyzed stun, dipping so low, but Looney is in the back, sitting on MCS. I think we'll be okay, just able to port over there comfortably. Demon Soul being popped, the Rogue being cloned off. Great job by a Skitch peeling for his Warlock.
Yeah, I mean, Red Hot definitely needed a little bit of help there. We do see the MCS on a Looney. Unfortunately, Rimmon gets a reselt off of Cyclone. No one watching him there. He's going to be recloned up, but that's very DR'd. And the Shadow Dance is still active here for Rimmon. It does now expire. You can see he's playing Burst of Speed, which is very, very strong. It's very difficult to ever kite a Rogue with Burst of Speed. It's constantly keeping that Feint and Burst of Speed active, keeping the Slice and Dice up as well, trying to do as much damage as possible here. The blind does come out onto Looney. Will he be able to force a trinket or perhaps get a sap off this? Anything like that? Nothing just yet. And now the clone does come up to disrupt that. Make sure he's not going to be able to get anything off of that. So really, the blind accomplished nothing. Red Hot didn't even get below half HP.
For sure, he wasn't able to vanish with that blind. Usually you want to do your blind, get the Warlock kind of low, get a sap off that, and burst with the restealth that you did get. Unfortunately, a Skitch recognizing the Rogue didn't have a trinket for that full Cyclone was able to disrupt that perfectly, so great job from this LSD. Using their peels, using the fact that the Warlock can peel for the Boomkin can peel for the Warlock in any situation to the best of their ability. I feel like the Warlock from this RLS needs to be fearing the other caster whenever they're going for a burst attempt, or the Shaman needs to be pushing in, trying to wind shear, trying to ground those CCs that are going to be thrown onto the Rogue. But this RLS team content to sit behind the pillar, play very defensively, let their Rogue's cooldowns come back up.
Shadow Fury though from Red Hot catches all three actually into the beam, but the dance is going to be popped here onto a Skitch. He's going to be taking some serious damage from this Rogue, but the Barkson goes up and looks like he's actually just fine. I really think that going Looney is going to be the best option for them. They can go on these other two targets, and if they can catch them in bad spot or really kind of grind them down, that can be effective. But if you go on the Shaman every time you have Dance up, I just feel like you're almost guaranteed to get cooldowns. You have Dance into Coil, you have Grow into Cheap Shot, or Grow into Kidney Shot into a Coil every time. I think you're just going to grind through the cooldowns that Looney has faster than they actually keep coming back up. So I really feel like that's the best strategy. But for now, they are going to be on Red Hot.
I agree completely, and I feel like maybe the reason they're not doing that is because they don't feel like they can push in past this Boomkin, past this Warlock, but I feel like they should. The full Kidney goes under Red Hot, the Death Coil going into Looney. No cooldowns forced again, though, on that Kidney. I mean, this LSD is just comfortable, sit back, play defensive, play however they need to just not use their cooldowns. They're not blowing anything on this. With full Parasite coming on Red Hot, Demon Soul popped out by him. Not any trouble, though. I mean, the Rogue isn't connecting right now too much, doesn't have any close-up, but there comes the Shadow Dance, the Cheap Shot coming onto Red Hot, into the Growth, but the full Cyclone being thrown up in Boom. They need to stop these peels on the Rogue every single time that they're going for burst attempts, otherwise they're not going to be able to do everything. If they're not cloning the Boom, or fearing the Boomkin, or fearing the Warlock, whenever this Rogue is using a Shadow Dance, he's going to be instantly peeled. This team is way too good for that not to happen. Rogue thrown into a root, capstone off that root, great job. Does end up killing that bow before it pops, so good job by Rimmon, just kind of noticing that the capstone was there on the root, kills it off before it procs, and seeing his target is the Boomkin. I feel like the Boomkin is super susceptible to being feared. He doesn't really have any stops for it, so if they can get a fear onto the Boomkin and a swap onto Looney with the burst of speed, running as fast as he can, I feel like that's the best option that they have to kill. As you were saying, the dance into a coil is very effective. Full Kidney coming onto a Skitch, full dots being popped out, Hex onto Red Hot, instantly decursed by Looney. It's a great job by him, and not even Barkskin being needed to pop. This Rogue team isn't getting anything done.
Yeah, I mean, it's just not going to be that effective if the Shaman's free healing. There was no CC on him, anything like that, and they don't really have a lot of spread pressure rolling. So although they did get that dance onto the Moonkin, it's not going to force really anything. The blind comes out on a Looney, but what is this going to accomplish with no damage really going out? They're trying to get something going on to Red Hot, but I think that Shaman's going to be comfortable to sit through this as Red Hot, only getting down to about half HP there before he catches the Earth Shield. He's going to get out of there. Rimmon dipping down a little bit low, does catch a big heal there from Doppel. But both healers actually very high on mana. Red Hot does get chunked down pretty heavily there as the CS does come in onto Looney, and we can see that Rimmon just going to be chasing back behind the pillar here onto Red Hot, but I don't think he's going to be able to finish anyone off. He's actually going to clove offensively. He wants to try to get something done. Redirect kidney onto Looney, nicely played there by Rimmon. The Shadow Blade's even going to go up. Healing cooldowns used here by Red Hot. Hex comes off of that onto Looney, but it's going to be decursed immediately by a Skitch, and we do see the Tranquility coming out from a Skitch as well. So very well played by this Moonkin. Just doing everything he needs to do to keep his team alive.
For sure. Heals also being popped up by Red Hot, but we do see the switch onto Looney being forced off from that vanish from Rimmon onto Looney. Stoneform being popped, Haunt onto him. Will be okay. Doesn't have to trinket this. RLS seems very content to kind of sit back until their blind is up and then kind of push him with that as they're doing right now. The coil going on to Looney, but Rimmon just stuck into a root, can't actually connect. Gets a Dispel, but stuck in a full Cyclone. This Boomkin just doing so well to peel him every single time the Rogue wants to do something. I really feel like they need to get Fears on the DPS whenever the Rogue's doing anything. Otherwise, these casters, they just have too many spammable CCs from him. He's never going to be able to do anything. He's never going to be able to control his character when they're going for those burst attempts, and he needs to. The Rogue is the burst of this RLS team. He's the one that needs to be 100-0ing people, while the Warlock just has those CSs and those Fears going on. Kick onto the Moonkin, just pulling back Rimmon, content playing defensive, trying to just weather out the storm from this team. But the dance coming out onto Red Hot, tons of damage, maybe be popped on him, but no CC on Looney. Again, they're just playing back until blind is back off. It feels like they're not even wanting to push in until blind is off cooldown. Just trying to play as defensive as they can behind the pillar, not letting this LSD get cooldowns, not letting this LSD push in on them, and just playing super, just far back.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see them go for when they do go for the swaps on Shaman, then get the Howls, because that denies the Charmer Totem. You get that Garrote, Kidney, whatever, onto the Shaman, and you get the Howl Terror on the other DPS, and you can set something up. They did swap to that Shaman after they'd already blown all their cooldowns on the other two, though. It kind of seemed like a half-hearted swap. I mean, they used Dance on Red Hot, then Blades on Red Hot, and then they kind of vanish swapped over onto Looney, but the dots weren't even applied until they already were on him. And now they're going to be swapping over onto him. The blind comes out on his Skitch. That's going to force a Trinket. Going for that clone. That's going to be trinketed actually by Rimmon here. And they are getting some decent damage out onto Looney without even using the dance or anything. He may actually be forced to trinket here. He catches a Heart of the Wild NS and has the Battle Master there. So big actually defensive cooldowns. They got the Trinket from the Moonkin, the Heart of the Wild from the Moonkin, Battle Master and everything from Looney just from one swap without even dance or blades or anything.
Yeah, really good job by them using that blind effectively, blind CCing that Boomkin while they're going on to Looney. Great job by the Rogue recognizing, trying to get that double CC going on, recognizing the Boomkin was peeling him every single time he's trying to go offensive, and the Boomkin does trinket and pop Heart of the Wild. And you're right, Dance is going to be coming back up very soon. Blade's coming back up soon, about 40 seconds for Rimmon. So a lot of cooldown's coming back, but I'm not sure, he does have Cloak available, not choosing to use it quite yet. The spell coming out from his Restoration Shaman, stuck into that Shadow Fear behind the pillar, content just to sit back, not use that Cloak of Shadow, saving it wisely. Really good play by him there, recognizing he didn't have to use it, although he was dipping it down around to 100k health, just, spamming them feints, getting 30% passive damage reduction from that, saving his cooldowns. And this RLS, I mean, they're just playing back again. They're not wanting to go offensive without that blind being off cooldown. They feel like maybe they can't get Fears on this enemy team without blind, with the Shaman being, free, able to dispel, able to tremor, content to dispel dots, but Rimmon, he's going over there onto the Shaman. Here comes the cheap shot and the Rupture, just trying to dip behind that pillar, trying to avoid as much CC as he can while attacking the Shaman. The dance comes out, huge pressure coming out to him. We have to see the peels coming out. There's a Disorienting Roar on the Cloak, great job by a Skitch, and then roars Looney out of that, but the link is forced anyways.
Yeah, and I mean, had that coil come in a split second earlier, they would have got the Trinket too. They may actually get it anyway. Healing Tide now forced as well, and just massive amounts of damage put into the Shaman. And that is what they can get. Now they get Ascendance. So they got Ascendance, NS, Link, and Healing Tide just from that one swap. And the coil was late on that swap, and they had no dots when they went to him. So, imagine if they had dots up and the coil came in time, they would have got Trinket at least on top of that, if not just killing him through all those cooldowns. So that's the power of those swaps to the Shaman. That's what they need to do. They also still have Blades available. So this is really the strategy that they need to be going for. And we saw how effective it is there. So if they can really get the proper setup and you get over to Looney, have dots on him before you go to him, it's even better.
Definitely. Boomkin Trinket is back up, so he's going to have that available for the next swap. But Red Hot stuck in the full kidney at this point. Demon Soul being popped by the Warlock. Red Hot dipping so low, down to 200k. The Haunt does come in. Looney actually in the back, though, able to free cast those heals onto Red Hot. No CC going on him. There's the MCS. Doesn't actually catch a heal, I believe, but Red Hot is forced to trinket and kind of get out of that bad situation that he was in. I'm not sure if he's popping his healing cooldowns there. I do believe that they have been popped. Yes, they have. They're wearing off now, though, and Looney is casting, but there comes the kitty. Maybe a smoke bomb showdown. He does have no trinket, but the full clone, or half clone, coming into remain. Cloning his trinket. Great job by a Skitch. The fear going on to Looney, but does end up tremoring that. So no tremor available for Looney anymore. Maybe the next fear can spell really big trouble. Tricks coming out from the Rogue onto that Warlock, wanting to get the max spread pressure that they can from those 15% extra damage modified dots. But Red Hot can tend to sit there and tunnel into this Rogue. Dance is going to be coming up very soon, and Blaze is available with that. We're going to have to see what this Rogue is going to get done with his next dance.
Yeah, I mean, they did force some cooldowns out from Red Hot, which was nice, but I just feel like they're not committing to one target enough. And with the nature of Mop, there's so many defensive cooldowns that everyone can kind of swap it around, and you can just rotate through those cooldowns. But they're going to go right back onto Red Hot, and I mean, they blew Smoke Bomb, they blew Dance and everything onto Red Hot. They did get Red Hot's Trinket, but now, as a result, Looney's having time for his cooldowns to come back up. So if they go back to Looney now, then Looney's going to have his cooldown. So it's kind of like you need to commit to blowing your cooldowns consistently on one target. Otherwise, all that you do is you force defensives, but the other people already have their defensives back up. Now, the Dance is going to be used onto a Skitch, but he has his Bark Skin. So a Skitch is probably going to be fine here. You know, as long as Looney can get some sort of heals out, but maybe, wow, I spoke too soon. No one triggered anything. And they just completely underestimated that. I talked about rotating cooldowns, but a Skitch that Looney didn't trinket anything, and he just died, and wow, that was shocking.
Super surprising. He did get out of the CC. I'm wondering if his Ursock was off cooldown, or if something happened, because he was out of the stuns, and he could have pressed Ursock. Barkskin wasn't actually available there, so it's done to damage, but you're right. I mean, they went to the Shaman, got cooldowns from the Shaman, then decided to go for the Warlock, got Trinket and regen from the Warlock. I mean, Rogue has a lot of, it has a lot of burst, but it doesn't have burst that often. It doesn't have enough to rotate through 3 enemy team players' cooldowns to get the kill. So kind of a random death coming up from the Boomkin there. It wasn't expected at all.
No, I mean, I think that was just pretty clearly mistakes were made there. But just in general, that's kind of how Mop is. It's like in previous expansions, swaps and stuff were more common because it was more about getting pressure rolling and stuff for a lot of classes and a lot of cooldowns. There were a lot of comps, I guess I should say. But in this expansion, because everyone has so many on-use defensives, it's like, if you swap to a Warlock, but you only swap to a Warlock every 2 minutes or something like that, he's always going to have his healing cooldowns up. He's always going to have his Trinket up. He's always going to have poor, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you're not really getting anything other than those defensives. And it's the same thing. I see people making those mistakes with Druids so often, where they swap to a Resto Druid, but then they don't get back to him before Barkskin comes back up again. And then it's like, really, all you're doing is you're forcing Barkskin every time you go him, So you really have to commit to making one target your main target and trying to work through their cooldowns. And then if you continuously get back to them, that means that you're going to get to them at a point when they have no cooldown. That's when you really start to get kills. I mean, obviously you can get kills in other situations like that, and it was a nice swap from the RLS, not take anything away from them. They did a great job. They won the game. But a bit of a surprising death there. No Trinket coming out from either player.
Yeah, definitely. And the other thing, the LSD didn't really get anything going on in the RLS either. I mean, I didn't really see a single cooldown force. I mean, the Rogue was cloaking, but every cloak they did, it wasn't defensive. It was an offensive cloak, trying not to get Cyclone, trying not to get feared and stuff like that. Not too sure what the LSD is going to have to change.
I don't think Moonkin Warlock has much of a chance against RLS.
Yeah, I don't believe Moonkin Warlock has much of a chance against RLS either, especially the way that they're playing it. I mean, they're just behind the pillar until Dance comes back out, and once Dance comes out, they're attempting for a kill and then instantly back to the pillar. They're not taking any risk at all.
It's really hard to kill a Rogue, honestly. If they keep Feint up, it's very, very hard to ever kill the Rogue. I think their best chance is randomly killing the Shaman, and I think that they should go Coil, and you have to do Bash Coil, Bash Coil, Beam, etc., and just stuff like that, and hope that you can force big cooldowns, or hope that they kind of mess up and die. But I think that as long as the RLS plays safe, it's just like a matter of when they're going to get the kill, because I feel like it's extremely difficult for them to ever get the kill. I mean, especially when they're playing like that, if the Rogue is going to sit on a DPS, it shuts down the DPS very, very hard. They're not going to put out a massive amount of pressure. It just means that the RLS Shaman is always able to just sit there, spam dispelling on cooldown, and that makes it extremely hard to ever get anything really rolling for the LSD2, because he's just removing like 6 dots every time he presses a dispel every 8 seconds,
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely hard for this LSD to get any pressure, and it's always been that way. RLS has always been a huge counter any sort of spread dot pressure, such like, I remember you play Shadowplay quite a bit. I mean, you've played a few games with that, I'm sure, with Talbot and Sidu, and you probably know how hard it is to fight against a good RLS or Shadowplay. It is the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
And, yeah. I've played you a couple times in Kato, though I wasn't really much of a name back then. But I'm not a rogue, but I've had more success against your Shadowplay on my rogue than I did my Feral Druid, and I'm not a good rogue at all. And just kind of shows how that class is just so powerful against spread pressure comps like that.
Yeah, well, especially in Kata, it was gross. I mean, you just press recoup and then you could walk in behind the pillar and didn't even have to get heals or anything. It was just all you needed was recoup and you basically couldn't die. Recoup in Kata, literally the only way you could out damage recoup as a warlock was if you had Demon Soul dots plus haunt. If you had even full Demon Soul dots, got out healed by recoup. It was like
it's ridiculous.
They were just unkillable.
But rogues just were gods back in Kata.
They were gross, man. But in this expansion, it's not like that. But at the same time, with Feint always up, it's just like you have like Bark Skin up 100% of the game or something. You know what I mean? It's just the only way you can kill rogues is really bursting them, and LSD2 just doesn't have that. They just have no potential to do that. You know, the way I kill rogues when I'm playing MLS and stuff is I literally fear them so that their feint falls off. Then you burst out of that. You know, you can't just go them. You have to have feint falling off and then blow them up before they get feint up, basically. But LSD2 just doesn't really have the ability to do that unless the rogue is really kind of rotting down in a bad position and then behind a pillar gets like bash coiled and dies or something. But I don't think these warlocks are even playing. I don't think that Red Hot's even playing coil. I think he's playing Shadow Fury. And I mean, Shadow Fury is nice because it's shorter cooldown. It's like kind of like the safer option, but I don't think you can play like that. You just have to try to go for like a risky kill. That's the only chance they have, I think, of killing someone.
I believe so as well. They have to catch the rogue in a bad position and trying to force him to either him offensively cloak, and he doesn't have that available defensively, or just kill him with Odin actually being able to pop because of the CC. But a hard opener coming on Looney. We do see the sap onto the Warlock, the Halotera coming in the Boomkin. Great opener already from this RLS. We do see the Demon Soul Blast coming up from this Warlock onto Looney, already forcing out the Stone Form and Nature's Redeemer popping. Not too many other cooldowns for us. We do see the full clone going on to the Rogue of the RLS, but still dipping down super low. I believe he'll be okay though. Rogue choosing to sit that clone instead of trinketing, and the Halotera comes out instantly being tremored, or not tremored actually by Doppel. Rimmons being stuck in that. So tons of CC coming up from this Rogue. Great job from this Boomkin team, but I'm not sure where they're going to get their pressure going.
I mean, imagine if they had the gateway on top of the other team's gateway. I think they actually would have killed the Shaman in the opener there. Like, the Shaman, you know, he got away, but he got away with like 100k, and he was actually struggling to top himself off behind the pillar on the other side of the map, and now they're going to go right back onto Looney. I think the RLS has realized, you know, kind of what they did wrong in the first game. Rimmon does a good job just dodging away from that cap stun, going to be able to avoid that, no problem. You know, he is very spread out though, so he does have to be careful. The cloak actually forced defensively, because you know this map is good for that. They are going to be very spread out if they chase too far. You know, in Doppel, Arcadia, and Rimmon are going to have to be a bit more careful about that. They're going to be swapping hard over onto Red Hot though. Red Hot going to be caught here behind the pillar. They're taking quite a bit of damage. We do see the coil off the kidney shot. The Tranquility Heart with Heart of the Wild coming out there from Sketch, and Sketch actually just kind of solo healing through that damage right now as Looney was CC'd, but he's going to be fine. The healing cooldowns come out from Red Hot as well, and they're going to be okay. I mean, I think that just repositioning the gateway is going to be huge on this map. If Looney wants to play on the opposite pillar, then Red Hot needs to, like, you know, they need to place their gateway to that pillar so that they can chase back and forth. You know, if Rimmon has a gateway to retreat to, or Doppel has a gateway to, you know, push in with Rimmon on, then I think that makes it so much easier. Because right now it's like he's kind of just, you know, Rimmon's chasing out in the middle of the map, but there's no gateway for him to get to get away if he needs it.
Yeah, for sure. Rimmon did just pop that prep, so looking for maybe a vanish shot pretty soon. But pushing on that Shaman as Cloak is back up. Definitely wanted to get on him, maybe with that dance cooldown that's coming back in 16 seconds. But tons of pressure coming up him. Might be forced into a cloak, but just pushing in very comfortable, you know, just running in on top of this Boomkin. Does throw him out into the Parastun, that does proc. Just trying to do damage on him. No major cooldowns coming out yet. And there's a dance onto Looney. Tons of damage going to be forced out here. Hopefully this Warlock does have a Demon Soul pops. Can get dots on there. There's the dots and the haunt coming out onto Looney. Tons of damage coming out from this RLS. The entire enemy team is rotting to this pressure, and they found it. They need to go into Looney. They need to go in over and over again, but Looney just gates away. You know, he's safe. He's fine over there. The gateway is not on their gateway, and so every time that he comes out of those stuns, and I mean, if there's a growth stance on him or anything, he's just going to gate right away and get away from this rogue. So definitely going to need to see a gate on their gate like the Feral team was doing against this LSD. I do believe it would be a lot more effective, but right now it's not going to be able to be done by the Warlock.
Yeah, and I mean, Red Hot did a good job getting away and getting that repositioned gateway onto the pillar. We haven't seen Arcadia do that yet, and I really think he needs to. And it would just make it so easy to kill that Shaman. And when he gates away, if you just gate instantly right back on him, there's nothing you can do. But Looney going to be swapped over onto. We do see the redirect kidney. We do see that Parastun coming off of that. He's catching some heals here from the Moonkin. Arcadia, though, getting pretty low, actually has to pop his healing cooldowns. And there's the gate once again. They just don't have the ability to chase them because Arcadia has not replaced that gateway. So, you know, Red Hot getting his team a big advantage, honestly, by doing that. And now the swap over on a Red Hot. Red Hot could be in some trouble. May want to actually trigger this. I'm surprised he's not because his Shaman's not even close. Taking a lot of damage here. Does sit through it though, and he is going to be able to survive. It does appear as his Warlock. Yeah, he's okay. The clone comes out, and Red Hot's going to be okay as a result of that. The re-stealth though comes off the clone, and well played by Rimmen. A bit of a mistake though from that LSD2 to let him get it. Looney now going to be opened up on. He's a little bit away from that gateway, but the cooldown should be up pretty soon. We do see the Groat coming off that cheap shot, going to be taking a lot of damage here. Parastun comes in now as well onto Looney, immediately getting those heals from a Skitch, who has been doing a fantastic job, honestly, throughout this tournament. Really impressing me on that Moonkin.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely throwing out those clones whenever they're needed, throwing out those off heals. Definitely knows his class very well, although it is not the strongest class right now. Still very good. We do see the Celestial Alliance alignment coming out from a Skitch, trying to get as much pressure as he can onto this Rogue, but frankly, this Rogue's cloak is back up in 16 seconds. He's not really in all that trouble. Throws up the Kidney onto his Skitch, just peeling defensively until that cloak is back up, but definitely wanting to look for another swap onto Looney. I feel like if there's that gateway on that gate, so very good job by them, recognizing that the problem that they're having is every time that they go into Looney, he's just able to, they're able to get him to where Nature's Guardian proc down at 200k, but he just gates away and is able to pop himself because the Rogue is able to get there. But the dance, or the Vanish coming out, or the dance coming out onto Red Hot, tons of damage coming out, the cheap shot, the Haunt coming in, maybe a Kidney fall off that. If Red Hot does actually decide to gate, you will be able to get to him right away, and there's the gate, but this time Rimmen is able to get there right away. The blind coming out onto Looney might actually force a trinket out here, but Red Hot is not actually under that much trouble. Looney feel comfortable to sit that, and there will be no sap as a great Hollow Terror comes on to Rimmen, preventing that.
Yeah, so finally they did replace that gateway, and a really good job of that. And you see how much easier it is for him to get right back to his target. He's going to be going hard onto Red Hot, though. Redirect hitting onto Looney. Cheap shot onto Red Hot off that Groat. Red Hot taking a lot of damage here, down to 200k. Still has that trinket available, not deciding to use it. The Ascendance does come out from Looney, healing him up quite a lot there. MCS now onto Looney. They are going to force the healing cooldowns out of Red Hot as well, so maybe just want to try to get the kill onto Red Hot. But everyone on this LSD2 does have their trinket available, so everyone in this game actually has their trinket available. It's kind of funny. But I still do think Looney is the best target, but they just they like to swap it up, and I guess it does kind of keep your opponents off guard and makes them a little bit scared. Now the trinket does come out from a lot of people. Arcadia, Rimmen both trinketing, Red Hot trinketing there as well. Rimmen maybe looking for a very stealth note. He's going to run right back over onto Looney, trying to get the damage rolling onto him. He is maybe in a little bit of trouble though. No, he gets dispelled up by Doppel. He should be okay. Looney down very, very low, 100k, 70k HP. The Link comes out. The Nature's Guardian goes up. Big damage, and they were only on him for a second. Now will the gateway be used? Yep, there's the gateway. And this is what I was talking about. Now what does Looney do here? Now instead of just getting a free heal up, he has to blow more cooldowns. But actually the clone does come in from his Skitch, so well played by him. Going to be able to peel him off and going to be able to keep him okay for now. Oh, the re-stealth again, man.
Yeah, definitely needs to be watching those. He's doing a very good job getting those clones, but needs to be very firing the Rogue out of every single one of those clones. Not able to do that, and the full Kidney comes out into Looney. Tons of pressure going him. I'm really scared for Looney on the next dance attempt. He doesn't have Stoneform, he doesn't have Trinket, he doesn't have Link. He's down a lot of cooldowns, and this Rogue Lock Shaman team is definitely showing that they're able to do so much damage in a full Kidney shot on that Shaman, and the Rogue is just tunneling away on him, not being able to get peeled. I do believe the Rogue's cloak cooldown is up as well, so he's not in any trouble, and there it goes. There's the offensive cloak onto Looney. The Kidney shot does come in onto him. It was DR though. Yeah. It was triple DR, cheap shot, not doing too much effective, but it shouldn't matter too much as the dance is back up in 10 seconds and DRs will be falling. Let's see if he's able to get a re-stealth out of that clone. Isn't actually so great job by a Skitch recognizing that time. The fear comes in a little bit too late and is able to get rooted and parry fired off of that. Dance is now available. Wanting to see that switch back onto Looney. No trinket available for another minute. So this is going to be their attempt to kill. Blades was down as you used it on the Warlock earlier, but if they're able to look at him and it looks like the Rogue's kind of trying to feign over that way, they're going to be able to get a kill. But there's the blind onto Looney, no trinket, and they're just choosing to go hard on this Boomkin through shield wall, which I don't agree with.
Yeah, I mean, now the swap comes over onto Looney. We're going to see that make that damage onto him, and he doesn't have a trinket available. The cheap shot comes in to grow off of that. But that damage on his Skitch was really just kind of wasted. They didn't really get anything done with that. And it probably would have been better to just go onto Looney and blind up a Skitch, and they probably could have forced the Moonkin trinket at least that way. But Rimmen taking a lot of damage here. He's going to have to pull back, and they're going to continue to go right onto Looney as he does catch a heal there. Should be okay. We do see the Kidney shot coming off of that, and the Smoke Bomb does go down. Looney in some trouble here. We do see the NS comes out to heal up his Shaman. His Skitch just gets right in there, but he's going to get a cheap shot as well. Heart of the Wild has been popped by a Skitch, so he's going to be doing a lot of healing with that Cenarian Ward, with those rejuves. Trying to do his best he can to keep his Shaman alive, and I think he's going to be able to do it. The Root comes out. The Cyclone goes down as well. The Cyclone onto a Doppel there. Rimmen starting to rot a little bit, but I mean, there's not really any dots out at all from Red Hot right now. He's having so much problems, so much trouble really getting those dots out because they're just constantly getting dispelled by Doppel, and he's getting interrupted, and then he has to peel and then get shocked on that. And you fall even further behind. It's very tough because his team is always on the back foot. He can't really maintain that pressure. And Shadow Blades has been popped on a Looney. The Trinket proc is up there from Rimmen as well. He's going to be doing a lot of damage here. There's a kidney shot coming in. Will they be able to finish off Looney? Looney down dangerously low, 100k HP. The Nature's Guardian does proc, but he's still rotting. The coil comes in off that. The cloak coming in offensively. A nice disrupting roar coming in there. There's the healing tide as well. It looks like he's going to be okay for now, and the swap comes out over briefly onto a Skitch. It's actually just a cheap shot onto a Skitch, and now they're going to try to get back to Looney.
I do believe that was a little bit of wasted advantage just to get a cheap shot off. Maybe he was hoping to do more with that, but did realize that DRs were on the Shaman wasn't actually able to get a full stun on him. The clone comes in on Doppel, but no pressure really coming out. There's the dance onto Looney again, the full kidney shot. This is so much pressure coming on him, but no trinket being forced. He's choosing to sit that. The Garrote comes out, but full Parastun on that Garrote. Actually, not lasting too long. Must have been the DR Parastun because they do kind of overlap sometimes over one another. Unfortunately, you cannot control that as a rogue. Doppel just spam displaying your waves. You're right. Red Hot is having such a hard time between getting spam feared, getting wind sheared, having to peel, having to spam those fears and not actually full dot, having an extremely hard time, keeping the spread pressure that this LSD needs on this rogue Log Shaman. And I feel like it's just a matter of time for the run of the cooldowns. But Looney is getting his Spirit Link back up. He has Trinket up again, and they're choosing to switch over to Red Hot as he did Trinket of Fear earlier to peel it off his Resto Shaman. It's interesting to note that the Warlock of the RLS currently does have a pet out. It feels like, I guess he must be soulburning his pet out to get like an extra CS, just kind of some fancy play there from him. Yeah. But I'm not sure if it's actually worth it in this matchup. Not at this moment at all. I don't believe that it's worth it.
I've been seeing him do it a lot this tournament. I think I don't know. I mean, it's like one of those things that's like a little too try hard. I think it's like it's like usually more effective to just haunt someone instead of doing that, especially when sometimes all that's happening is his pet gets dotted up right away, right? And because he's playing against an LSD2, and then he's actually having to sacrifice the pet before he actually CS's anything worthwhile. So it's not really accomplishing anything. But Arcasia going to get Shadow Period. He's going to be put into the Fear. The Hex comes out onto Doppel. So some nice cross CC coming up from this LSD, but Rimmen straight back behind the pillar. And what can you really do to prevent that? There's basically nothing, and that's kind of the problem here for this LSD2. Arcasia now taking quite a bit of damage actually. Was rotting down there. But I don't know that they can really ever finish him off, and Looney in some big trouble here. We can see that he's going to be coiled up in the middle of the map. 100k HP on Looney. Will he be able to survive this one? The Link does go down as the Nature's Guardian does proc. He's getting healed up by a Skitch as well, and Skitch really the only thing keeping him alive on these swaps.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely doing a great job healing, but he did have to Trinket on that swap, and that means it's not going to be available for the next time. I do believe the Rogue should have blind up again, unless he did blind on that swap to get the Moonkin Trinket, which I do not believe he did. And the full kidney comes onto a Skitch. Big dots on him, actually, in fact, dipping down pretty low, choosing not to Bark Skin that. Rimmen in trouble. No cloak up for 10 seconds, caught in the middle of the map, but I believe Doppel should be able to top him off, just dispelling his dodge tags. They're not even worried. Sitting at half health, just still dispelling dots, feeling comfortable, like that's the best way to heal up his team. Assuming he's probably playing that Shaman talent, where whenever you dispel dots, it actually does quite a big heal on your teammates, and this RLS definitely very comfortable against playing spread pressure comps such as this LSD. We see the redirect kidney coming onto Looney there, just attacking a Skitch, and the dance does come out, and the blades. Here's a tons of damage onto a Skitch, the most damage that a rogue can possibly do, dipping down so low. There's the Airsock, there's the shield wall coming out, trying to counteract those rogue cooldowns as best as he can. They notice the Skitch doesn't have so that's actually the last cooldown that a Skitch does have. So if they can get CC onto Looney in any way, shape, or form, like maybe in a cross CC Hex, while dancing onto a Skitch when he doesn't have his Trinket, he doesn't have shield wall, he doesn't have Airsock, they could potentially get a kill on him because they have worked through his cooldown.
Yeah, they could. Barkson's up in 18 seconds though, and Looney has a Trinket, so I think it's going to be tough to do that. We'll see though. They're going to be going right over onto him, and he got feared into a terrible spot, so if they're going to go for it, the time is now. 10 seconds on that Barkson, and will he be able to get any CC on Looney to accomplish it? I don't think so just yet. Looney kind of in a pretty good position in the back, and we do see that what is the Moonkin disengage called? I mean, I can't even remember, but
wild charge. It's wild charge.
It's okay, yeah. Yeah, that's what I thought. So he just does this kind of hop out of there with the wild charge, and Barkson has been popped, so they did get that without actually using dance. I don't think so. Maybe they could get something done. We'll see. We'll see if they can get the CC on the Looney. Looney's been sitting on that PvP trinket almost the whole game, but we have to remember last game, Looney and Skitch both had their PvP trinket when a Skitch died. So there's no guarantee that it's actually going to be used. Yeah,
for sure. And the dance just came up, and the blind just came up, so they're using that right away. Dance onto actually Red Hot. I'm not sure if I agree with that, but dance onto Red Hot. Full stab coming out of that blind. Great job by Rimmen, able to get that this time. And healing cooldowns will have to be popped by Red Hot as well as Trinket. So a lot of cooldowns coming out. We haven't really seen any effective bombs come out of Rimmen. Another DR sap out of that. So great job by him, forcing also so many cooldowns out of Red Hot. The MCS coming off of that, dipping down so low. Probably going to have to be forced to gate out of here. No, they're just hopping away, knowing that the gate is on their gate. It's not going to really use that effectively. Although I would still kind of like to see it used, as it does kind of pull the rogue out of position. Full kitting onto his sketch. So much trouble. He does have to trinket that, as Darkskin is not available. As I did force it earlier, as you were saying, a really great swap target, but a full fear coming out onto his spear. And the rogue did have to trinket during that engagement, so he will not have that next time for when he's going for a burst. The full clone on Doppel, but the rogue does have cloak, so he is definitely safe, as there's not that much stuff to kind of lock this rogue down in order for him to be not able to use cloak in a situation where he needs it.
Yeah, we will see. The Bergson back up now once again for a sketch here, and Rimmon getting kind of low, but once again, he does have that feint up, he does have that recoup up, and just going to pull back behind the pillar. Gets actually going to pop the cloak. Wow, so they do force that cloak out, but he's going to get the re-stealth very likely here, and will be able to do that. Throws up the tricks as well. And, I mean, they've just gotten away from going on Looney. And yeah, they have gotten some people low, but Looney just has all his cooldowns now. So I don't know. I mean, they're going on the Moonkin. I guess this is just maybe the safer option. Maybe that's what they're thinking. But at the same time, Doppel getting a little bit low there. He does have to drop the healing tide. If you give the LSD too much of a chance, maybe they can make something happen. But Skitch will be able to survive here. Down to 150k HP, taking a lot of damage right there. Does have to pop the Heart of the Wild. And he is pretty much but Moonkin mana I don't think is really an issue. We can see Acacia has that pet out once again, man. So he's pretty intent on trying to get those double CSs.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely trying to make the fancy plays work. And the full kitty comes out onto a sketch, dipping down pretty low. No trinket available and no Barkskin available, in fact, but does end up popping his Boomkin shield wall that he does get from that symbiosis effect on the Warlock. The Warlock of the RLS doesn't have trinket during that engagement, and we see a full Hex onto Red Hot, not being able to be decursed yet. There are duty curses, and there it comes off now. Heart of the Wild still available for them, and obviously this RLS, I mean, they're getting people low, as you said, they're getting people dipping down, but if dampening does stack up, I think it does end up, I'm not sure who it favors, but it will give the LSD more kill potential eventually, because I feel like with dampening, they really do not have any kill potential. Doppel has not had to blow a single cooldown in the entire game. He's playing actually extremely well in the back, dispelling dodge, doing exactly what he needs to, but a random Barkskin, again, forced out from a sketch. I'm not sure if that was entirely needed, but the damage coming onto Looney, Riemann is connected, and that pops his Ani's trinket, but no dance or anything, so I guess he's feeling pretty safe. The fear going on to Riemann instantly gets broken by damage, in fact, so just trying to tunnel into Looney, get him low, maybe try to dance once he's low, and feeling like maybe that's a better strategy from the dude to force cooldowns, but this LSD is really putting the pressure on, forcing the healing cooldowns out of this RLS from that Warlock, and everyone's dipping down to around half. Dopp will definitely have some work to do to get his team top, but the full kitty comes on Looney with the Haunt, tons of pressure coming out, no trinket available, but I think he'll be just okay, sitting around 400k, his Nature's Guardian does prop. But this Boomkin is showing signs of life. I mean, they're dipping people low, they're forcing cooldowns at least out of the Warlock, and things are starting to rot a little bit for them.
Yeah, I mean, he was okay, but that was through the healing tide, or rather not through the healing tide, rather through the tranquility. Plus, he pre-Stoneform Battlemaster that cheap shot. So, I mean, they did force the trinket in that as well. So, they get a lot of cooldowns when they go to Looney, but then they just seem like they forget that it works, and they just give up and they go back to other people for a while, and they may be able to eventually kill a sketch or something, but it feels like it requires more mistakes than just going on Looney, and they are going to be back on Looney now. And he is down pretty low. Going to have to drop the healing tide here. Dipping down to about 150k HP. Catching those Moonkin heals. The clones maybe going to come out there now. And the Ascendant's NS Force as well. So, just on those two little swaps, they got Battlemaster, they got Stoneform, they got Ascendants, they got a lot of cooldowns. Healing tide as well. And his trinket's almost back up, but I feel like if you keep going to Looney, it's almost guaranteed kill. Bremen, though, getting very, very low. May actually go down here. 50k HP. Does he have a cloak available? He does not. And Doppel deciding to go for the Dispel instead of NSing or linking or really instead of anything. Well, I guess he didn't have NS up. It wasn't up just yet. But with his rogue at 50k, he used his last global there on Dispel and instead of linking or something. Maybe he just didn't think he could get in range, or I'm not sure exactly what happened. But correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't he still have his PvP trinket and link and everything?
He did not have PvP trinket up anymore. It was going to be up in a minute for him, but. Still, this RLS is taking too long to get things done against this LC. I mean, if you give the LC enough chances, maybe as there, eventually the stars will align. They'll get enough damage on the rogue with Oak Cloak being available because he offensively uses it. But I mean, still, although the RLS did have a lot of cooldowns up, obviously they probably shouldn't have died there. There was probably some miscommunication or a mistake being made, playing a little bit too aggressively. But still, I mean, they're very finicky on their target. They're not sure exactly what they want to kill, and I feel like you said, I mean, the Resto Shaman is the target to go to every single time.
Yeah, I mean, they just seem that they're not decisive at all. They've throughout that game, they got the cooldowns from all three different people 10 times. You know what I mean?
It's like they'd go to Red Hot for a while. They get through all Red Hot's cooldowns. Then they're like, okay, that's enough Warlock for now. Let's go to the Moonkin. And they go to the Moonkin. They get all the Moonkin's cooldowns. They're like, okay, now it's time to go back to the Shaman. They go to Shaman. They go, you know what I mean? It's
they're trying to sample everyone. They're just
exactly. It's like just attack the Shaman every time you have dance up, and you're gonna win the game. Like it's just like it seems very straightforward to me. I don't know, man. I just think that every time you see them go on Looney with any sort of like a semblance of a swap, they force cooldowns. It just seems very straightforward that swaps to the Shaman is how you win the game, and I don't know. They're not like really committing to that. And honestly, the LSD2 played very well to survive. They did a great job. I think this is like an extremely RLS favored matchup, and the fact that the LSD2 won it is really impressive. So they did a great job, and they're able to take it, and they're going to be able to tie it up. It will be the RLS's map choice, though, so we'll see what they're going to be able to get done here.
I think that big map kind of favoring the survivability of that Boomkin LSD team, but
sure.
Obviously going back to the RLS map choice is going to be very difficult. But I mean, I agree with you. I mean, even if one dance, doesn't force everything, I mean, you're going to be getting the Shaman low, and they're going to be getting scared, and the Boomkin's going to be trinketing, and they're going to be forcing cooldowns out of them consistently. Going other targets, you're not going to consistently get those cooldowns with those dances. I mean, if the Boomkin has Barkskin, you're not going to get anything from anyone when you have that dance up. If the Warlock can get away with a trinket, pop his heals or something, they're not going to get any cooldowns again, and they're not sticking to targets like you're saying. They're not getting enough. So hopefully they can change up their play here. Kind of stick more to the rest of Shaman. Like, I don't even mind them tunneling the rest of Shaman the entire game, like never getting off of them and just playing super aggressive. I think he can just end up flopping eventually if they do that. And I don't think they're in any trouble of dying as long as the Rogue plays careful with his cloak.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, they did get close to killing the Moonkin a couple times, but he was kind of like popping some random Barkskins. Like, the Rogue would be on the Shaman, and then the Moonkin and Barkskin dots and stuff. Which I think when you do that, it's a really big mistake, and that's like one of the biggest differences between the hardest druids to kill and the druids that you can kind of consistently kill. It's just the really good druids just like never waste their Barkskins. Like you fight like a Starship or like a Soda or someone like that, you know what I mean? And they never give you their Barkskin unless it's absolutely needed. And when you can't just force a Barkskin randomly, it's extremely hard to kill a druid because swaps through Barkskin, it's very hard to kill them. It's just so much damage reduction. And I just think that if this LSD2 plays well, the chance of the RLS killing the Moonkin or the Warlock is much lower than them killing the Shaman. So I'd love to see them just make hard swaps to the Shaman on cooldown, just commit to that and really try to get that done. But at the same time, if they don't, maybe Red Hot, Sketch, and Looney are going to be able to kind of pull a fast one on them and take it this series.
That would definitely be a huge upset considering I believe RLS has a massive comp advantage coming to this. Even if you don't see RLS so much on the ladders anymore, they're still very strong against comps like this. And we do see the sap onto a sketch, looking like the Rogue wants to in fact open up on him maybe, or no, just kind of pulling back. Not quite sure what he wants to do. There's a sap onto the Warlock, opening up into a sketch here with the cheap shot, the Rupture. They've kind of been doing this consistently every game, but I really would like to see a hard open on the Shaman with a double clear on the DPS. I mean, I feel like that's not that hard to line up as RLS, sap on one and then clear the other, open on the Shaman. I feel like you can do that fairly consistently, but the blind does go out on Looney and just tons of damage coming onto a sketch, but the Rogue does just get rooted, popping his evasion, I guess just for the pattern, for fun, or whatever it is. Yeah. And I think they're just okay. I mean, the Boom can just end his clones, rimming off there. Nothing really going on. The redirect Kinney did come out of that blind, but no cooldowns being forced. The cheap shot does go into Looney, but this RLS not really getting too much done in their opener.
Yeah, I mean, he's pulling his dance, but there's no dots up or anything, so he's not really taking too much damage. And yeah, Skitch just kind of sat through everything. Looney sat through everything. They really got nothing done. They're way actually behind off this opener. Look at Arcasia. Look at Rimmen. Everyone is very, very low, and Doppel, is kind of struggling a little bit here to heal everyone back up. The cloak actually forced out there from Rimmen, and Doppel, it seems like when he's getting into these harder situations, maybe he's not making all the best decisions because most of the time he's just having pressed the Spell Riptide and Healing Stream. But when he's under pressure, it gets a lot more difficult than that. You have to make some hard choices. And Rimmen already down to half HP again after having blown that cloak. If the LSD can push in here, maybe they could force some cooldowns. But it's not going to happen. UA is going to be dispelled out. But nice Halatair on that UA silence. And Rimmen may be able to be in a little bit of trouble here. The feint does go up from him, though. And he's going to get dispelled off once again and probably going to be okay with that.
Yeah, definitely. Doppel just feeling comfortable to dispel those dots, but definitely, this RLS is under a lot of pressure. This Boomkin team is forcing them very low. We do see the dance coming onto Red Hot, and off cheap shot onto SKH on his NS, so very good job by him roaring that. Maybe we can see a purge on that NS, but no. He is able to get away and NS clone the Rogue off that. I would have loved to see the Shaman coming out spamming purge on that Boomkin. Not sure if it was happening or not, but would have been good to see that NS being dispelled while the Rogue had that Boomkin CC'd and that cheap shot into the Rogue. Looney just comfortable, sitting in the back. We do see that CS coming from this Warlock, sacking his pet after getting that CS, trying to be like super, super duper fancy. But Looney, hasn't really had to use that many cooldowns yet. He has used Healing Tide but his trinket, you know, is still available. He still has a lot of buttons available for his team, and really only one without a trinket on the team with Red Hot. And I do feel like this RLS is already falling behind in the opener. Shadow Fury coming up from that Warlock, just really solid play from them, forcing this Rogue down, forcing this Rogue to, you know, play more scared than he might like. You know, Cloak is back up, Blind is coming back off cooldown, Dance is also coming back off cooldown, so they're going to be going for pretty aggressive soon. But right now they're just content to sit behind the pillar. Cheap shot coming onto Red Hot, just kind of hitting whatever is closest to.
Yep, definitely, and they are going to be going hard onto Red Hot here. The Dance comes out. We see the Garrote up onto him, and going to be taking a little bit of damage. The Coil will follow that up, but Looney, you know, not CC'd just yet, and I think he's going to be okay. We do see Red Hot just kind of pulling back a little bit. The clone comes in onto Rimmen, and Arcadia going to get CS now by Red Hot. We do see that Rimmen looking for the race health, not going to be able to get it, and he's going to get rooted instantly on his Dance. He's not really getting anything done with his Dance, unfortunately. A Skitch actually just like ran into him, though. I don't know what happened there, man. A Skitch just walked over to him, let him use the end of that Dance, so he gets the cheap shot off. Going to be that. Not sure really what happened, man. I think he accidentally wild charged into him or something.
I'm not sure, dude. YOLO Boomkin, whatever. He can do what he wants. He's a god.
Yeah.
This RLS team, you know, they're kind of stabilizing now. Not too many cooldowns being. Doppel's cooldowns are coming back. You know, Healing Tide will be back in 35 seconds. He has Trinket. He's sitting comfortable in the back. Casting a Hex, gets it on there on Red Hot. Instantly decursed by a Skitch. Great job by him watching that. The beam comes out, but no root. Kind of a misplay there. Maybe it was grounded by the Sorcerer Shaman. The Dance coming out onto Looney. Huge damage coming out. The full kidney into the floor. I actually don't believe that was Dance. I think it was just a kidney. And tons and tons of damage being forced out onto Looney. And I mean, that wasn't even Dance. That was just Kidney Coil. And if the Rogue actually ended up popping Dance, that would have been a lot more. But the Rogue does cloak on that engagement, so he will not have that for future tries on the Resto Shaman. Yeah. Very unfortunate for him because a Skitch is very, very intent on peeling every single time that Rogue wants to do something offensive.
Yeah, I mean, he did Trinket as well as the Shaman gated away. So I think a bit of a mistake there. You know, he Trinketed the clone, but it was a little too late for it to actually to mean anything. They don't have a gateway on the other team's gateway again, so they can't actually pursue with that. So, you know, I think that, you know, having that trinket for those swaps is very important because a Skitch is doing such a good job healing, and if you have that cloak or you have that trinket to be able to cloak or trinket the clones coming in, you're gonna have a much better chance of actually securing those kills onto Looney.
For sure, the NS clone comes over to Doppel there from a Skitch and then switching it over to the Warlock, using those DRs to reveal as effective ability as he can. As we see the Coil kidney shot coming over to Red Hot, I do not agree with it. Try to go on Looney, but the full bind on Looney does get the sap out. Lots of pressure coming on Red Hot, but the Boomkin coming back, trying to peel the best he can. The Rogue has no trinket, so any CC that lands on him will for sure stick from this Boomkin, as they are all undispellable. But Looney does end up trinketing there in that engagement, so no trinket from Looney. I'd love to see a swap on him. Red Hot still does have his trinket and his healing cooldowns. Red Hot stuck in that Howl, Doppel stuck in that Howl. Looks like no Tremors available on that. So very good job by this Warlock, getting those Fears when he can on Doppel, recognizing they didn't have Tremor there, trying to do the best that he can. A full Fear going on Scare, using those, but Rimmen dipping so low to those Warlock and Malefic Grasps, and they have to cloak that, and Doppel does use his trinket there, trying to keep his Rogue aggressive and topped on health.
Yeah, and actually the LSD2 starting to really take control of this game, I have to say. You know, forcing out that cloak, they're putting out a lot of pressure, and with that trinket force, if they can get a full clone on Doppel, if they can get some CC out here, they can actually potentially get a kill on Rimmen, who doesn't have cloak for 40 seconds. We'll see if they're going to be able to get anything done, or if they're just going to kind of turtle behind the pillar. They may actually just try to pull back and play extremely safe until those cooldowns do come back up, but UA dispelled right off there, and yeah, I think they're just going to kind of play it on the pillar for a bit here, and I think that's probably the smart decision. Dance is back up, Trinket's back up for Rimmen as well. His cloak's going to be up in 20, and he's actually just going to dance right onto Red Hot. Smoke Bomb goes down as well. The Coil comes off that. Red Hot going to be taking a lot of damage. Shadow Blades goes off also, but I mean, Red Hot has all his cooldowns. He didn't even have to Trinket. You know, he pops the healing cooldowns out of that, and you know, Dance, Bomb, Blades forces nothing. Just not really a very good use. When the Shaman has no trinket, why are you blowing Dance, Bomb, Blades on the Warlock who has every cooldown in the game still up?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I feel like that's definitely misplay. We do see the full kidney coming out. I mean, not out of the woods yet. Definitely still at half health, but Looney, there's no CC on Looney. They have nothing available for him. The Fear does come up, but it's just instantly Tremor, just dispelling away off his Warlock, feeling very comfortable that his Warlock is fine in this position. You know, still has trinket. We do see the full Hex come on Looney, but there is a decrease on this team. I feel like a good thing for this LSD to do when that Rogue's Cloak was down is maybe to have your Resto Shaman, even though it is dangerous with the Dance being down, maybe to push in onto Doppel and try to get a full Hex, because this Warlock team, this Rogue team, they do not have a decrease for that full Hex, so if you can land that onto the Resto Shaman, it actually spells trouble for the Rogue. He's going to be playing super defensive, but obviously it is hard for Looney to push in like that with an RLS team having so much kill potential. The full kidney comes onto a Skitch, the Fear on Red Hot, but yet again, there's no real CC on Looney. I mean, this RLS, they need to be going onto Looney, because every time they go on anyone else, he's just not CC'd, and there's a cheap shot, there's the Dance going onto him right away, trying to get huge pressure, but it's just not happening. They're not connecting the way that they need to. There's not enough damage going out. Rimmen just needs to get Hollow Terror on that, and Looney, he'll be completely fine here. They didn't get anything out, and they're actually the ones falling behind on that push.
Yeah, they definitely are, man. And you can see Arcadia already had to use his heals as well, I do believe. So he's not going to have those available for a while. And he's getting very, very low. He's he's at 200k HP. Does catch a kill there from Doppel. Doppel going to get knocked back. Red Hot may just go down though. Red Hot getting bursted very hard here. Does have to trinket a gateway away. Looney going to have his cooldowns back up now though. Looney has his trinket. He has his stone form and everything available. So we'll see if they can finish off Red Hot. But I mean, Red Hot's healing cooldowns are already back up, I do believe, in 20 seconds or so. So if they can't kill him before that, they're probably not going to be able to. The cheap shot comes out onto Red Hot, and Looney trying to get blinded there. The blind does come in. That's going to force a trinket from Looney. So nicely played there. The RLS, getting some cooldowns from Looney, but Looney down. He's actually going to redirect kidney, so well played there by Raymond. Raymond going with the dance now onto Red Hot still. Does get the Garrote up. Red Hot needs to be a little bit careful here. The Hellstone is back up. The healing cooldowns are back up now. Will he use them? He probably should be popping them right now as they have come back off cooldown, but the Ascendant's going to go up there. The NS goes up as well, and Red Hot electing to not use them. It looks like he's going to be able to get away without it, so good job by him holding on to those cooldowns.
That was a full fear though on Looney. He did have to trimmer a half fear out of that blind, so unfortunately for him, sitting that full fear into a full hex, Skitch does have to trinket in order to get him out of that hex, but just to get refeared on this trinket, great play from this Warlock, just preventing the hex to spell, and Rimmer is in a lot of trouble over there, stuck in that Parastun, dipping down lower and lower. This is trouble for them, but Skitch is going to counter that with the Heart of the Wild. Maybe okay, but that is a short DR kidney onto him, dipping down to 100k health, might see him port away here. There's the port. Might have to pop his healing cooldown as well with that. No, gets behind the pillar. Yes, there are the healing cooldowns from Red Hot. Tremor will be back up for Looney, but if we can see a full fear onto Looney, get that Tremor, get another full fear into the hex with the fear and a sketch, this could spell huge trouble for Red Hot as this trinket is not available yet. And this RLS is actually, trying to stick to one target more. They're trying to stick on the Red Hot. They feel like that could be their kill target, and I kind of agree with them sticking to one target, though I prefer it to be Looney. Whatever really works with them should go, should be okay. Rimmon is dipping pretty low. Cloak of Shadows is having to use you there, so 1 minute on that Cloak of Shadows. I do believe Doppel still has all cooldowns up. His trinket is available.
There's a bomb, man. Bomb, blades,
there's a bomb with blades and
yeah.
everything onto Red Hot. Trying to force everything out here, but Looney is not able to just, kind of sit there and sit through it, and really not that much damage going on, only dipping Red Hot to half health. So they're really not getting the most effective use of those dance bomb blades every time that they do press it.
Yeah, and Red Hot, has his trinket up again available. So, and like you said, I think it's good that they're sticking to Red Hot, sticking to one target, and you can see that it has been more effective than swapping around a lot for them, because they did almost kill Red Hot. They got through some cooldowns from him, but the kind of cooldown rotation is back available now. Red Hot has his trinket again. Looney has his trinket again, and I think that it's so much more effective to just do that on the Shaman, because they bomb, dance, blades, everything onto Red Hot, and Looney just pressed Healing Tide, and he was fine. So, had that been on the Shaman with no trinket, like there's been 2 opportunities where the Shaman had no trinket, and they had bomb, blades, dance, everything on a different target. So it's just very strange to me, but we'll see if they're going to pay for that. They did get very close to killing Red Hot, and they definitely still are in this game. It is 1-1, guys, and this is the final game of the series. We'll see who's going to be able to take it, because whoever loses here is going home. The swap comes in onto Looney now. Looney going to be taking some damage. It is the end of that kidney shot, but the nice route from a sketch is actually going to get Looney right away.
For sure, Rimmon stuck in that really, really DR clone, and there comes the dance. Being rooted on that, being spam feared, the Cloak of Shadows eventually wanted to get on Looney as best as he can, but I'm not sure if I agree with that dance. I mean, he did just stun him, so he's going to be on to DR for a while, maybe hoping for that Parastun to proc. Just trying to get as much damage and pressure as he can, but the capstun, really nice job, dropping a capstun on that gate, knowing that the 2 DPS are going to be trying to gate into him to get as much pressure, and both get caught in that. And capstuns are really, really great for this team because they're not really running with that many stuns, so any sort of extra stun the Shaman can add to this dot pressure team is just going to be such a huge help. Here comes the Spirits Walker's base coming of Looney, so you can see by this rogue just kind of tunneling onto Looney, they're just passively forcing cooldowns that they wouldn't normally get by going on the other DPS. They're forcing, Spirit Walker's base, they're forcing him low, they're going to be forcing the Boomkin and the Warlock soon. If the Shaman does get stuck in stun, does have to blow his trinket. There's the MCS and Nature's Guardian and Ascendance being popped. I mean, they're getting so many cooldowns and they're not even doing anything, and just by attacking the Shaman, simply by just having him as his target and putting as much damage out on them as we can possibly.
Yeah, I mean, you can really see just how effective it is. And Looney going to be put into the kidney shot there. He does have the trinket available, but he's getting through those cooldowns so fast. And they did have the coil, but that was kind of like a half-hearted coil there. He was already out of the kidney shot. Brimman was cloned, and there was no dance or anything. Now the dance comes up, and they don't have coil for it. So that's a bit unfortunate there. Rimman actually taking a lot of damage. Does get caught in the capstun. The Haunt connects as well. And here comes that dance. Looney did dispel off all the dots before. He's actually going to trinket anyway. Did trinket there. I'm not sure about that without any dots up on him, but he is taking some damage, and we'll see if he did end up needing that. Down to about 250k HP. Does have that unleash up
And we see Rimmon getting feared off. Rimmon in a bad spot. He's very split up from Doppel, who has no trinket. The cloak, I think, is available here for Rimmon, though, so he should be okay. But they could actually capitalize on this. If they get some CC out of Doppel, they could easily force that cloak.
For sure, they definitely could force up the cloak, but it looks like he's going to be content just to sit behind that pillar, not have any dots go on him, and just have that cloak available. Just playing super defensive. We do see him get that re-stealth. Cheap shot onto Red Hot. I do agree with that. His re-stealth would have been breaking very quickly because he did have dots on him. The Fairy Fire does go up from a sketch, trying to keep that as much as possible. But the Demon Soul dots are coming up from a scare up. They're just kind of switching hard onto Red Hot. He did not have a trinket because he had a trinket for his Shaman. We do see the full Howl and MCS onto Looney. Maybe Tremor late off that. Yes, there comes the late Tremor, dipping down to 100k health. Dark Region having to be popped. So the Warlock has no heals and no more trinkets, so maybe he's a great target to switch to, but Looney's trinket is also down from that previous engagement. So I feel like if I was the RLS, I'd be wanting to get onto Looney as best as I can. Sure, you're getting the Warlock low, but I still feel like Looney's the best target. Here comes the dance. Here comes the super DR kidney. It's a 1/4 DR kidney. Maybe Rogue getting a little bit too eager onto that Warlock with that full kidney shot and the dance being popped. But here comes the Storm Lash from Doppel, the rest of Shaman of this RLS, trying to tell his team, go get this kill. We want to end this series now. The full fear comes into Remen, instantly dispelled with the haunt. So great job by Doppel. That's really good when you dispel that full haunt and the fear off the Rogue. It's like a double whammy, but mainly you want to be dispelling for damage, but also dispelling 60 on top of that is great. Here comes the blind onto Looney. There's a full blind and a full kidney onto Red Hot. This could be it. The Boom King gets full feared. It does have to trinket that. Notices that the situation is dire for their team as neither the Warlock or the Shaman had trinkets, so great job by a Skitch there, realizing that his team was in trouble. The full clone to Looney is not over yet. Red Hot dipping down to 240k health, but a full clone sitting on Raymond there will be okay. No trinket available for him for that. But Dance is coming back up soon. Dance will be back up in 20 seconds. Looney will unfortunately have his trinket for that, but sitting on redirect hitting, and there comes the Spirit Link just to kind of make sure that his team will be okay. Dampening should be coming in pretty soon. This game is going for a while. There's a double Shadow Fury onto the DPS of this RLS. Full Cyclone coming into Doppel. Does end up triggering that, having to top his team. The Cloak of Shadows is not available for him for the next 30 or so seconds. Is dancing. Pops that pretty much onto his sketch. Maybe that was more so of a defensive dance. Felt that he didn't have Cloak of the Shadows up. Was in a scary position. Just wanted to dance on the Boom King to stop the pressure.
Yeah, and I mean we're pretty far into the game now, so I think that dampening is going to be coming back up, and they're going to be going back onto Red Hot here. The cloak up in 5, as you did point out. It's going to be up very, very soon. Raymond taking a decent amount of damage. Red Hot is really taking a lot of pressure at this point, though. He's going to be caught into the kidney shot. The nice UA dispel there comes in from Looney. The clone goes out onto Doppel, but at this point maybe needs to be throwing that clone over onto Raymond or something. Raymond taking no damage at all as Red Hot is in that kidney shot. So that clone onto Doppel not going to be super effective at that point. Doppel actually just popped his Battle Master, I believe. I think that must have been an accident. That Battle Master is up on him, though. But anyway, we'll see if that does actually end up mattering. They're going to make the swap over onto a Skitch, who did use his Barks in earlier. It's not up for 15. He could actually go down here. Does he have his shield wall? He does pop that shield wall, but very late. He popped the shield wall after he was already out of that stun, so kind of maybe just realizing, oh crap, maybe I could actually die here. The Root Beam does get thrown down onto Doppel. Rimmon taking some damage, is going to be pulling back. We just have Feral Charge actually over onto Rimmon. The dance coming out from Rimmon now. It's going to be used onto Red Hot. Skitch is actually pretty low though, but they're going to decide to go it onto Red Hot, and it's not going to be too effective, it looks like. Rimmon's starting to rot down. Arcasia starting to lock down. Rot down as he does get locked out there, and Doppel down to about half HP as well. We do see Looney going to get fully blinded up though. Who's Rimmon going to go on now? It looks like it's just going to continue to be Red Hot. He trinkets, but he gets instantly recloned. Skitch playing so well, anticipating that trinket, and he is going to actually roar him on his re-stealth as well, and that's going to make the subtlety expire. So we do have the Grow coming in, the Quill to follow that up. Red Hot does have his trinket available. He's going to gate out of there, and Rimmon doesn't take the gateway. He's actually just walking across the map instead of using his gate.
For sure, I do think that would be a little mistake, but he does tap him. Looney off that gateway. Looney trying to get back to his team out of combat, recognizing that. Does get the half sap because he did get one off the blind earlier. Looney didn't have to drink earlier for his Boomkin when he did get dipped down really low and he didn't have Bark Team for that engagement, but the cooldowns of this LG are just constantly coming back up. The RLS isn't doing enough work with their trinkets. They're always coming back up over and over and over again. But it looks like this Rogue is trying to get pressure onto Red Hot, trying to do as much damage as he can to him. But Red Hot does have healing cooldowns, he does have trinket up, so I don't think he's in too much trouble, and this LSD is rotting. Doppel is forced to trinket. I do believe that was a full clone on him, and it's just spelling use it off that trinket. He feels like the best way to do that is just to spend those two A's. Yeah. That was a smoke bomb onto Red Hot, but he doesn't even have to trinket that. I don't believe there was a stun there. He just does pour out of there very easily, and that was just kind of a waste of that smoke bomb there on Red Hot. I mean, they're not getting anything done with it. Every single smoke bomb this Rogue have done hasn't been that effective. I mean, the Shaman didn't have a trinket. If you can fear the DPS and then smoke bomb on the Shaman and both of you have trinket, it's just so good because you're not going to get peeled in the smoke bomb. You need to use smoke bomb effectively, so one, either no peels are coming out or no peels are coming out. Either one of the two need to be used. That's what needs to be used. The cloak does come out of Rimmon there. I'm not sure what he's cloaking out of there. as he wasn't really in any trouble. I think he should, at this late in the game, only be using his cloak defensively because dampening is stacking up so high. But he just seemed to be telling out to Red Hot. We do see the full hex onto Looney. A Skitch does end up decursing that. Great job by him, but we do see the full fear onto Doppel. Not sure if he has a tremor for that. No breaks on that fear, and Rimmen is in huge trouble with no Cloak of Shadows available.
Yeah, I mean, Red Hot's taking a lot of damage as well, but he's actually swapping it over onto a Skitch, which, I mean, a Skitch has his Barks in, he has everything up. And Red Hot was down way lower and had nothing. I was so confused. But Looney going to get MCS, and dampening, you can tell, is really taking a huge effect now. Looney is struggling to heal through this. Wound Poison plus the dots and everything, dampening plus Wound Poison is kind of a double dip, you know? It makes it twice as hard to heal through. So it is really a struggle right now to heal through that. We do see that a lot of damage is coming in on Rimmen, though. The Heart of Wild Capworm coming out from his Skitch, and we do see the Starfire coming out, that Star Surge proc as well. Will he be able to get down here? The Cloak just barely comes up in time to keep himself alive, but Arcasia in some trouble here as well. Arcasia does not have his healing cooldowns. The Cloak now expiring there for Rimmen. They don't want to let him re-stealth here, though. He's back behind the pillar. Can they actually stop him from doing it? Yeah, the Shroom's getting thrown down. Should be able to prevent that, and he is going to get dotted up now. We do see the Cloak not available for 45, so they really need to take advantage of this. Full dots reapplied instantly after that Dispel. Well played there by Red Hot, but Red Hot taking a lot of damage. Does have a trinket available. He's just going to gate out of there on the growth, though, and now Rimmen does actually use that gateway, I think for the first time, to chase after Red Hot. So we do see a lot of damage coming in on him, though. Did he overextend here? He gets the UA Dispel off him, but he's going to get fully dotted up once again. No, they actually just let him re-stealth. That was a big mistake. They actually had him in a great spot to maybe get a kill. He was at 300k HP, but Red Hot now does have the Demon Soul up. Looney's going to be hexed up. They need to decurse this. They're not doing it. Looney has no trinket. Now the decurse does come in. Arcasia, though, in a lot of trouble. They need to spread these dots out. Red Hot desperately needs to get the dots rolling. He's not doing it just yet, but everyone is almost dead on the other team, and he may just go down as a result. He's going to go, oh my god, 11k HP when the link comes in. Red Hot just needs these dots up, man. I'm not sure if he just has no soul shards or what's going on here, but I mean, during dampening, damage is worth so much more than healing, and you need to have pressure rolling on the other team. He hasn't had dots up in so long. Now he finally is getting the dots up. He should be able to start soul swapping them around. Rimmen finally getting dotted up, and will they be able to get anything done with this? Rimmen still has no cloak for 40 seconds. The Star Surge does come in onto him. Redirect Kidney onto Looney. He's trying to get it back over to Red Hot. The Coil comes in onto Red Hot. Rimmen may go down, though. 30k HP, may go down 10k HP. Will the Link come out 7k HP? Are you kidding me? Press Spirit Link. He finally rests it. That was so risky, dude. I can't believe he didn't go down there. Waited so long to link. That was insane. Actually, the gateways just expired, I think, from both teams, and now they're just realizing, oh crap, the gateway's gone, and this could mean the end of Red Hot as he has no gateway available. Arcasia down very low as well, though. Doppel, really struggling to pick up Rimmen and Arcasia, and now the clone comes in onto Rimmen. Looney's redirect kidneyed, but they can't let him re-stealth off this, and it expires. Oh my god. So I think we have to replay.
Oh god.
Oh lord. dude, there was I actually can't believe he didn't die. Like the rogue was that 50k? The shaman runs in, dispels him or riptides him or something like that, and then he went down to 30k. Still used another global on something else. He unleashed, and then he went to 7k, and then he linked. I was like, oh my god, dude.
He's like, I guess you need link now. Yeah. 1% health.
Okay, I gotta see what the rules are. I pray to God we don't have to have a replay.
I pray to God it's a based off damage, and then we just automatically give the game to the LSD. Even if it was based off the team, the person that got lowest, I mean, it's still at the end there, Rimmen got lowest. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I mean, it was 1-1, so I don't know what the rules are. I'm asking the admin what the rules are. I have no clue. The rogue was at 3,000 health or something at the end, man.
Yeah, that was wild. The shaman doesn't want to link, man. He just doesn't want to do it.
Yeah.
The game was gonna be if that game probably lasted another minute, I'm sure that someone would have gotten a kill with no gateway being down.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
I mean, it's a big deal, man. Letting that gate expire is huge.
A lot of so many warlocks actually don't even realize that their gate is expiring. Even the top tier warlocks, even on Chanimals and they don't know that their gateway is expiring, and it expires a lot. I do believe it actually happened in the tournament with Snuts and Chanimals, and when they fought in the very end in the Armageddon tournament, I do believe gateways fell. I'm not sure. In that very first.
I think I've seen that happen before. Yeah, it does definitely happen, especially in a tournament when people are really
Yeah, they're focused on everything else, and the gateway is just kind of something that's always been there, and it's always oh shit.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just waiting for a response on this. I don't know what the rules are. I'm asking the admins, and they will let me know. As far as what happened, the game just expired, guys. The game expired because it just means like the game just ended. With the Blizzard client, it's like 20 minutes. After 20 minutes, the game just ends. It just closes.
But dampening gets pretty high after that because I mean it's 10 minutes and that's like it's a lot of time for dampening to stack up because it is one stack it's 1% every 10 seconds. So I mean that's 600 seconds. So that's 60% reduced healing effect, and with Mortal Strike on top of that, that's 25% more. So it's multiplicative. It doesn't add. So it's not like it's 85% healing reduction, but it is still quite a bit.
Yeah. Okay. I think we just have to replay it, man. I don't think there's anything we can do.
Yeah.
It doesn't count damage. Like the mod didn't count any damage. It didn't show me anything.
I mean, obviously, I do believe the Boomkin LSD should have done more, but RLS Warlock does retarded amounts of just ridiculous amount of damage.
Man, I wish there was Ring of Valor.
Me too.
This is when you need some goddamn Ring of Valor, man. Oh wait, look, Ring of Valor's on this. Can I actually?
We should do Ring. We should do Ring of Valor.
Wait, can I want to see if I can. Can I cue them into Ring of Valor? I wonder if it works, dude.
Try it. I want to get back into that arena, dude. I haven't seen it in years.
Should I just?
You should just do it.
I don't know. Wait, so we'll use the old rule, the old tiebreaker. Oh. Okay, so it's wait. Okay, actually, wait. The admins are saying that I think it's based on lowest HP, maybe.
If so, I do believe the RLS loses.
Yeah, then the RLS will lose because the rogue is at.
I don't think anyone wants to go through that again. It's a pretty exhausting match. I mean, props to the LSD though, like doing very good against that RLS. I mean, they're playing very well.
Yeah, I mean RLS isn't super common, but like you said, it's extremely strong against Wizard Cleave. Like I know, Nadagas team in the PvP Live tournament, they didn't actually get to play because unfortunately Burberry's computer died or whatever, which sucks. But I know Cedo and them, they won the tournament, and they were telling me I know that they got farmed by that RLS.
I do believe Cedo's team would have just played that Warrior Mage Monk team.
Yeah, they wouldn't have played MLS into it.
There's no way they would.
They just got farmed. All right, so it is based on lowest HP. So we do see that it is going to be the LSD2 moving on, so the RLS is going to be eliminated. And yeah, so well played there by the LSD2. I think that's actually in my opinion, a pretty big upset.
I believe so as well. I do believe the RLX probably should have won that game. I do believe they have the advantage in comp, for sure. Just because Rogue Lock is always notorious for being extremely good against Wizard Cleave, especially Shaman Wizard Cleave in general. Yeah. Like just because Shamans are so susceptible to being tunneled by rogues. I'm actually so surprised that they couldn't kill with that much dampening RLS. I feel like it has a lot of kill potential, but.
I wonder what happens if I try to cue them into Ring of Valor, if it even works.
You should just try it for one game, just to see if it actually works.
The chat, dude.
Ring of Valor riot.
Oh my god, dude.
They want it, dude. I'm not sure if you should deny it.
No, everyone's getting banned. They're getting sniped, dude. Everyone's getting shot down. Oh my god, all these poor people. They just want Ring of Valor in their lives. Is that too much to ask?
I don't think it's too much to ask at all. I love that map, dude. Except when I fought against, Warlocks, then it was really difficult. But anything else was okay.
All right, so it is going to be Blue Lagyna versus 1-2 Stormbolt or 1-2-3 Stormbolt. That is going to be the next matchup.
Wizards versus Wizards.
Gonna be some more Wizards, dude. Okay. So buckle up.
I want to get back to Haxencleave, man.
Yeah, where's the TSG when you need it, man? Everyone making fun of that TSG, complaining about them, where are those guys when you need it? But honestly, I really do feel like, it's not like the RLS are obviously good players. I just feel like they just had the wrong strategy. Like I feel like if they just did the correct strategy, they would have won all those games relatively quickly.
I think so too. I think LSD is not great in that matchup, but they did pull through. I mean, SKH played very well, peeling the rogue every time they needed to, and Red Hot not ever overblowing cooldowns. They never used. I mean, one thing that the rogue never used smoke bomb effectively. Not once in any of the games was it ever a scary moment with smoke bomb.
Yeah, it was really not.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, especially like that last smoke bomb that he used. He didn't even have a stunner, Groder, or anything on the Warlock, and the Warlock just poured it out.
Bomb here always poured out shit. Well,
and I mean, the other thing that Gateway, dude, is that it stops Gateway. You know that, right? Like smoke bomb is so good for that. So it's like smoke bomb is huge in that matchup. Like
If you go on the Shaman, you pop all your cooldowns on it, like a little bit away from the gateway. Then he's waddling towards the gateway, dying to like Blades Dance everything.
Not only that, the Boomkin and the Warlock can't peel if they're not in the bomb as well. He can't gateway. He's just stuck there. You know, he can't.
Yep.
Yeah, you're right. It's really, really powerful.
It's really powerful. He didn't once have really an effective one, so I don't know. Anyway, that's that. So we are going to be moving on to the next one. It's going to be, let's see. I think it's do you even? I'm just going to try to queue them. Oversight.
Isn't the rare?
Yeah. Oh wait. Oh no.